Alright, hello y'all. Let's see, put this right here. So I meant to come on here yesterday, but I was in the middle of recording my video yesterday on my phone, and it said the phone got too hot and it cut off on me and it wouldn't work. So here I am today. So I finished chapter 1 and I started chapter 2. So we're going from pages, I believe, 48 to like 50. Let's see, 56 or 55, really, 55. So about 8 or 9 pages. So let's see. Okay. Actually, I can just do. Yeah, I didn't write nothing down on page 48 and 49, but I can just talk about it. So basically, from on the end of chapter 1, on pages 48 through 49, and then, yeah. Basically, what it talks about is how the slaves, the African slaves from back then, still had their own natural cures, herbal cures, stuff like that. And the slaves would still use those, or what they could use, whatever they had available to cure themselves or others, versus using Western medicine. So it also says on here, page 50. Actually, this is where this actually releases today, because it says here, for all their complaints, physicians in the early mid-19th century were happy to leave the business of birthing in the hands of black midwives. However, physicians wanted black healers under the scrutiny and supervision of white physicians. White doctors denigrated black midwives and healers, calling them uneducated, but white physicians themselves usually had no academic preparation beyond a few months of preparatory medical school or a few years of apprenticeship, which many blacks also shared. So this actually can draw to today, where you'll be on the job site or you apply, right? You'll have the same degree, same everything else like that, or even be more qualified than your white counterpart, but your white counterparts to get the job over you. Or even like some people might view you as less and view him as more, when in fact you're higher than him in education or anything else. Actually, the other day I was having this conversation with my grandma, and she told me something like this where she experienced it, where she's a nurse practitioner, and she was at work, and some other person there, a white woman, had a question. Now, instead of asking the higher nurse, who's my grandmother, the practitioner, she goes and asks someone under her the question. So that's just an example right there. Because here you have someone who's higher up that could also probably answer the question even better than the other person, but, and mind you, the person under her was white. So another white person went to the other white person under her and asked them versus asked her. But yeah, that was the story she told me, and it says here, the constant friction between white physicians and their enslaved healers sometimes erupted into open hostility. Physicians denigrated black medical practice and imposed punishment, including execution, upon black healers on the pretext of protecting the larger community from poisoning from the evil machinations of occultists who doctors claimed controlled the minds and actions of superstitious blacks. Wow. So because you and that person disagree, you have them executed. That's messed up. Black contributions to the early American medicine included research. In fact, slave doctors sometimes developed medications that were so highly prized as to garner them fame, fortune, and their freedom. In in 1729, Lieutenant Governor Gooch of Virginia authorized the payment of £60 to manumit an unnamed Negro man, N-word man. Gooch declared that his mixture of pharmacology, active roots, and bark had proved an effective syphilis remedy. It was. It is well worth the, and this is in quotes, quote, it is well worth the price of the N-word's freedom, end quote, wrote Gooch. Quote, since it is now known how to cure N-words without mercury, end quote, period, end quote. In 1751, South Carolina, a South Carolina slave doctor named Caesar developed several medical innovations, including an almost foolproof snakebite antidote. So, Caesar's medical accomplishment, we'll say that word, earned him his freedom from the South Carolina General Assembly, who granted him an annual pension of £100. Period. So that is the end of chapter 1. Now we're getting into chapter 2. This is also another similar story, but this goes into just starting it out. So this kind of goes into where am I at? How you have profitable wonders. Yes, it's chapter 2, profitable wonders, antebellum, medical experimentation with slaves and freedom. Okay. So here it says, what's this guy's name? It says here, Dr. Hamilton of Clinton, Georgia, Dr. Hamilton. Basically here, it says, this is one of the evil men, basically. This guy was a white guy. So it describes him in the next paragraph. And his slave was named Mr. Brown. It says, he then made Mr. Brown sit on a naked stool in the pit and covered the opening with a wet blanket to retain the heat. Let's see. So basically, he had abused him. He was using him as like a lab rat. Only Brown's head was exposed, while temperatures routinely exceeded 100 degrees. Hamilton then administered his various heat remedies until Brown recalls, quote, though I tried hard to keep up against its effects, in about half an hour I fainted. I was then lifted out and revived, the doctor taking note of the degrees of heat which I left the pit, period, end quote. After each day's work in the fields, Brown was given some nostrum and made to repeat the ordeal. But after all of this scientific effort, Hamilton resorted to, I don't know what that word is. Hamilton found that cayenne pepper tea accomplished his object, and a very nice thing he made of it. As soon as he got back home, he advertised that he had discovered a remedy for sunstroke. It consisted of pills which were dissolved in cayenne pepper tea, without which, he said, the pills would not produce any effect. Nor do I see how they could have done so, for they were only made of common flour. However, he succeeded in getting them into general use, and he asked a good price and soon realized a large fortune. Yep. Yeah. So basically, he was using Brown as a experiment. Brown was his slave, and being made to go through all these experiments while the white guy, Dr. Hamilton, was making all the money. That's where your what's the word? Generational wealth come from, or the wealth gap. After a few days' rest, Brown was subject to a new set of experiments, for which he bled every other day, but was but still was worse to come. Quote, he set to work to ascertain how deep my skin went. That's horrible. This he did by applying blisters to my hands, legs, and feet, which bear the scars to this day. He used he used to blister me at intervals of about 2 weeks. He also tried other experiments upon me, which I cannot dwell upon. End quote. After Brown's matter of fact account of being poached to the point of fainting, and of his repeatedly burned and faded skin, one wonders what other experimental horrors he cannot dwell upon. That phrase is in quotes. He would not bear the surgical torture no longer, so Mr. Brown fled to England. So he ran away. Then, it says down here, violence, pain, and shame joined as physicians forced the enslaved body into medical service, not to cure, but for profit. Now, if you think about it too, that line right there, not to cure, but for profit. Have you ever noticed how whenever there's a sickness or whatever, right, they always give you a treatment, but never a cure. They always give you a treatment so they can manage your case and continuously make money off of you. Medical experimentation was profitable in terms of recovered health and life for whites who benefited once the medical process had been perfected. It was also a profitable source of fame and fortune for physicians. Now that part today, where it says the white folks benefit from it, draw it to today, right? Where they're saying with the coronavirus, they're saying the trials won't work unless you have black folks in it. Why? Why can't you test that on everyone else and leave us alone? That's the same mentality where, okay, let's test it on the N-words, but when we figure it all out, we'll give it to our people. It's things like that where people say Black Lives Matter. It's not to take away from everyone else, but it's stuff like that. Because if you find out today, you notice where like these abortion clinics are at, the fertility clinics, Planned Parenthood, the fertility clinics are in the white community. The abortion and Planned Parenthood is in the black one. So pay attention to those things. So I'm almost done. It says owners boarded captive bodies of sick slaves to hospitals or hired well ones to physicians for use in experiments. Sometimes they sold a slave outright for such use, particularly if she had become too old to inform, to work, or to have more kids, basically. Many slave owners, such as Dr. Hamilton, Dr. Marion Sims, who's the father of gynecology, Dr. Nathaniel Bozeman, and Dr. Stilwell, were themselves physicians who bought and raised slaves for the express purpose of using them for experimentation. Not only slaves were thus used, but also free persons of color, which that person of color thing, we gotta get rid of it, because I want someone to show me where everyone else who is today considered a person of color had to go through all this stuff. But that's it for right now. Let me see, make sure I didn't go no further. So yeah, I left off on page 55. So if you guys are, hopefully I keep telling you guys to buy the book. Please buy the book and read it, because knowledge is power. And I'm also asking you, please like, comment, subscribe. You guys, the comments should still be on. So hopefully you'll see this video today. It's the reason why I posted it around 4 o'clock, whenever it goes up. So you guys have a good one. Stay safe, stay Rona free. And actually, there was another book I got the last week too. It's called The Miseducation of the Negro. So when I'm done this book, I have a few more books that are down the line that I want to start reading and stuff like that. So y'all have a good one. Stay safe. Please like, comment, subscribe.